Mr. Bob McDonnell.
Good morning. Ready to win?
Sure.
All right. My only excuse for being late is I just got my Medicare card, and I don't think as well as I used to. Okay, so that's the very best I can come up with. But Bob and Pam have been so kind in inviting me to come and be with you for some time, and delighted to be here in Norfolk. And thank you all for coming out here. Admiral, nice to see you. And so many others who have been the heart and soul of this Norfolk Republican Party for many years. I'm delighted to be with you for a few minutes and encourage you and to tell you what's at stake. And I know you've had probably Jen and Rob and Elizabeth and others before me who have talked about their campaigns and what's going on and what's at stake. And I know by now, just a couple days before the election, you all have given money, you've knocked on doors, you've made phone calls, and you're probably beat. But there's still 3 more days to go, and the things that are at stake in this country right now are truly, I believe, unlike any time I've seen. I know every election right about this time, there's some politician gets in front of you and says, "This is the most important election of our lifetime." Did you already say that?
I did.
Okay, very good. This year, it is just absolutely true insofar as state elections go, because of this increasing void for the vision for America. And what kind of country and what kind of state do you really want to have? Unfortunately, the Liberal Party of Virginia is increasingly reflecting the same values of the National Party. It didn't used to be that way. When I started the House of Delegates in '91, it was a more moderate, slightly left of center party, and we were able to fashion some common ideas through the leadership, starting with George Allen in the early '90s, that actually made sense and got passed. It usually got passed on a bipartisan basis. The rhetoric was kept to a minimum. We honored what was called the Virginia Way, where people would disagree civilly, they'd find solutions, they'd work hard for their constituents, and generally try to do what was the best for the people. That's really something where the still here. The time that I served in the House, that's generally the kind of view that I think both parties had. Of course, as you know, Republicans were a minority from the end of from Reconstruction until 1997. There was no majority in either house in the Virginia General Assembly. It was the 130 plus years until Republicans began to govern in '97 in the Senate, and then ultimately '99 in the House. And we've been really fortunate to have both houses every year since, except for the first 2 years I was governor. The Democrats had the Senate, actually a couple of those years. So my point of all that is not just a history lesson, but I hope that the reason you came out this morning wasn't just to have pancake and eggs and see old friends. You came out here because you believe deeply in the founding principles of the country. You believe deeply that democratic capitalism is what's been the guiding philosophy for America for this 243 years since the second governor of Virginia, Thomas Jefferson, wrote those immortal words in the Declaration of Independence and gave birth to this nation. We've been the shining city on the hill, as President Reagan called us, for quite some time, and it's because of those founding principles, with all the flaws of the founders and with all the problems we had, as a young nation, and we fought a civil war over the abomination of slavery. America is created on the promise that we're always about trying to create the more perfect union, right? And that's the beginning of the Constitution. And so I hope that's really why you're here, because these principles that we're now actually debating today are some of the same ones I think were debated years ago, and we thought they were resolved. The democratic capitalism, the Judeo-Christian ethic upon which our morality and which our society is based, that these truly were the governing ideas that made America what I believe is the greatest nation that there's ever been. I mean, we give more time, more money, more talent, more foreign aid than any country on earth. We're always about trying to help other countries achieve their highest and best. When the Soviet Union collapses or revolutions are over in Africa, you know where they look for how to govern? They look They look to the United States of America. They look at our constitutions. And, you know, we still, we talk a lot about the immigration issues. Where do people want to go from all over the world, legally or illegally, to escape oppressive regimes and to be able to find a better way for them or their family? It's not Venezuela and Russia and China. It's the United States of America. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is this is a uniquely gifted nation, and it was based on those principles that have made us successful, even with the problems we still face today. And yet we have the Democratic Party, not just in the United States at the federal level, but now with candidates in Virginia that actually are arguing for the point that socialism, or some flavor of that, is the better way for the United States of America to go. And it's just, it's startling to me, not only because it refutes the lessons of history, but another lesson of history is that socialism has failed everywhere it's ever been tried for 150 years, because it's contrary to the way God made us, it's contrary to human nature, and it completely undermines this whole idea of the American dream and people being able to determine their own futures, and then with whatever success they have materially, they can choose what to do with their money and who to give money to, not the government. So that's what's at stake on Tuesday. You know, it's the most significant difference between the major political parties that I've seen in my lifetime. You know, I think the Republican Party is the party of the American dream, the one that wants to guarantee equal opportunities for everybody, right? Whether you read the book of Genesis or the Declaration of Independence, it's what it said. We're all created in the image and likeness of God, and we're all created equal with the same rights. So we believe that we are a nation of opportunity. And more, the socialist view of the other party is, no, we're a nation of guarantees. We don't care what talents you have or don't have. We don't care what wrongdoing or whatever you might have. We're going to guarantee everybody the same kind of material success, but that's just not the way our country has succeeded, nor the way I think we've been created. So, there's a lot you can still do. And there's a lot at stake. You know, Jen Kiggins has to win for us to keep the Virginia Senate. She just has to win this election. We have I think a realistic chance of keeping the House of Representatives. I know Kirk Cox has been down here many times, and he's bullish about the candidates around the state that we have. But if we lose any one of those 4 incumbent seats in the Senate, we don't keep the Virginia Senate. So these races truly are so important. And you know the numbers. I mean, we have a 1-vote majority in each house. And of course you got three Democrats in the statewide offices. So it really is about what vision of Virginia goes forward for 4 years, who controls the redistricting process, and whether or not the people from California and New York, who are overwhelmingly, by the way, funding this election for the other side, where they're going to be able to claim on Tuesday night, okay, we got Virginia, and now we're going to take back the presidency. That's really what this is about. They don't care about Virginia. They're trying to buy votes. They don't know the candidates. They don't care about the candidates. All they know is they're not the same party of Donald Trump, and so we're going to do everything we can to upset the status quo in Virginia so that we can then focus our eyes on the presidency.